Hey guys, so today I'm gonna help us understand better the Boolean operators I taught last time in this tutorial applied to programming. So this is just the same calculator application that we made last time, or last time. And it has a bunch of if statements, so I figured we could just use this to learn what the new operators do. So, one of the first operators I want to look at are the equality operators. That would be like this: equal to, or not equal to, greater than or equal to, greater than, less than or equal to. So you guys pretty much already know how to use these. You use them over here. As in the equality operator. Now, this equality operator can be done with all normal variables, not objects though. So this equality operator does not work with strings. I guess I can expand on that later once we understand more about objects, but for now just know that don't use this equality for strings. If you want to compare strings, it has to be whatever the string is called. It's going to be like string dot equals, and then your other string. So that's the way that works. But for characters, doubles, integers, booleans, pretty much any basic variable, you use this equals, and any of not equal works too. Say if we were comparing two numbers. So once we have this, let's add another statement. Let's say we also want to tell the user if one number is greater than the other. So if num1 is greater than num2, then we're gonna go ahead and say system.out.println num1 is greater. No, that's not the right kind of greater. And let's put a space there. Num1 is greater than, and then we want, don't forget the plus sign there. Okay. So that's that. And then we can see if this works. So let's go ahead and run that. Okay, so let's enter 5 plus 2, and yep, it says 5.0 is greater than 2.0. So we're going to quit out of this for now. Okay, so now that we know that this works, let's try let's keep that. And we can say if num1 is less than num2, then we want to print out, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this and change them around. I'm going to say that num2 is greater than num1, because num1 being less than num2 means the same thing. So say that, run our project again. Okay, so first number, let's say 2 times 5. And yep, 5 is greater than 2. Okay, click no, that. And just the way we use them here, you you can use the greater than or equal to the same way. Like you can make this greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, and that all works the same way. And not equal to and equal to work the same way. So I think we have a good enough grasp on those. And okay, so let's move on to something else. Now, we also already used this one, which was this, the not done. Oops. My bad. Okay, this not done with that we point out with the exclamation mark right there. So the not done is the same as saying if done equals false, because done is a Boolean, and so while it's not false, we want to keep running this loop. So you can either say while done equals false, or a faster notation would be just saying not done. Another way this not feature can be used is in a regular if statement. Say you have this thing and you want the opposite of this to happen. So you would say, actually, I'm going to move down here. And if number one, if the first number isn't greater than number two, and we want to print something out based on that, all we have to do is put a not sign and then put our condition in a parentheses next to it, and it'll get us what we want. So we can say is not, just like that. Right? So if we run this, oops, make sure to have the right amount of parentheses. See, and run it again. Okay. Some things that, why does that keep happening? Okay, let's see. It should work now. Okay, I'm not completely sure what's going on. Something doesn't seem right to me. I've done this for, oh, I forgot to keep the not sign there. They'll usually help if your code is right. Yeah. Okay, so first number 2 plus 7, and we know 2 is not greater than 7. 7 is greater than 2. So that works like we want it to. Okay. So now let's use the OR and then XOR operators. Now I'm not completely sure how to put these in, so I'm gonna pause the video and think of something, and we'll get right back. Okay, so I sort of have a plan now. So say for some reason, whatever it is, we want to print out whether the numbers are different. So essentially, a very inefficient way of doing this would be, instead of just using the not equals to, which we know would work. So let's go ahead and actually try that out. Not equals, and I'm going to close this, and does not equal, then equal. Okay, so if you go ahead and save this, and why can't I run it? So if I put in 2 and 10, 2 does not equal 10. Now, an incredibly inefficient way of doing this, but I can demonstrate the XOR, which is pretty much the hardest one to use, because you hardly ever use it while you're actually programming. Even though it is sort of useful, I guess, you hardly ever use it. So we're gonna have our two conditions. So the way it works is you would have condition 1, then that XOR, and then condition 2. So now two conditions that have to be different in order for them to not equal is or rather two for them to equal is that either one or the other has to be true. If at least one of them is true, then they and the other is false, then they don't equal. So what we can use for that is for condition 1, we're gonna say num1 is greater than num2 XOR, which is that caret, and our condition 2 in parentheses, don't forget the parentheses, num1 is less than num2. So now what this does is, say num1 is 1 and 2 is 2, for simplicity. So 1 is greater than 2 is false. So this condition would become false. And then this condition, 1 is less than 2, will become true. So now, since condition 1 is false, condition 2 is true, this whole statement with the XOR becomes true because the two values being compared are different. If you're a bit confused on that, just check my last tutorial. But yeah, this essentially does the same thing. So go ahead and run it. So 2 plus 3, and 2 does not equal 3. And just to make sure it doesn't do the same thing when the two numbers are equal, 5, and it just says 10, and we don't get that message. So that means our code here works. That's the XOR. If we do OR, which is the two things. Okay, I promised that I would explain the difference between using a single line that's right above the enter key, and just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, hold on. I'm gonna bring this up for you guys. Keyboard. Okay, so it's that line right there. Hold on, let me use this one. This one's better. Okay, so it's this thing right here. So you hold shift and then that line comes in. So shift and then that, and that line comes in. Oops. Shift and that. And to be honest, shift that. See, that's it. Okay. Yeah, just a little side note. Okay, so when you have this, and actually I'm gonna whatever. Okay. So where was that? Sorry for wasting your time, but okay, so with a single thing, what it does is it would take both of the operators into consideration before making the final decision. But putting the two lines makes it a short circuit OR operator. So if condition 1 is true, it'll automatically set the whole thing to true and it won't test anything else out. So generally speaking, this is your most efficient way to go. Same thing with an AND operator. Single-handedly, if this is false and this is true, it'll calculate both of these out before it determines that the whole expression is in fact true. But if we use the short circuit version, which is 2 ampersands, once it knows that this one is false, it puts the whole thing as false. So just good programming practice, and so yeah, that's basically the way all of them work, whether it's an XOR or an AND or OR. So you guys can go ahead and experiment with that. And a quick shout out to the person who left me a thumbs up for my last video. Thanks a lot. And all of you watching, don't forget to subscribe. And give me comments on how I can improve and things. Thanks a lot. See you next time.